So this is the facelifted S-Class, which on the face of it is, well, just a facelift. So you've got the usual mid-life cycle measures, which is new grille, new lights, new bumpers, and a bit of interior trim. But the real talking point about the S-Class is what's beneath the skin. What you've got are two brand new engines, a diesel and a petrol, and both of them meet Bharat Stage 6 emission standards. There's a lot more driver aids right now, and the interiors too have been spruced up that little bit more. But before we get behind the wheel, let's take a quick look at what's new on the outside. Well, the headlight cluster now, that's upgraded in the new S-Class. You've got what Mercedes calls a triple torch design, and it looks pretty cool, these 3 LED strips. And there's a bit of hierarchy over here. The S-Class gets 3 LED strips, the E-Class 2, and the C-Class just 1. You've got a new grille, and you've got this blank spot over here which really hides all the controls and the sensors and the radar-based stuff which is there for the new advanced driver assisted systems, which we'll talk about in a bit. Moving to the side, you've got new alloys as well, a bit of a sportier design, but quite frankly, Mercedes doesn't do alloys well at all. And these are quite small, a bit like wearing a business suit and then kids to boot. The rear tail lights, well, that's also changed a bit. You've got more of a crystal effect over here for the lights. And what I want to talk about is this, the exhaust. Not because there's chrome garnish around it, because what's coming out of this is very clean. This is the cleanest diesel in the market. This car meets Bharat's Stage 6 emission standards on BS4 fuel. Now that's something we'll talk about in a bit. The interiors of an S-Class have always been very special, a very exclusive place that reeks of quality. So what's it like in the facelifted S-Class? What's new is the screens. Well, you've got the same 12.3-inch twin screens like in the previous S-Class, but over here it's connected this time. They're not individual, they look like they're pieced together. So a lovely big feel over here you get. Steering wheel also completely new with more functions on the steering wheel. The cruise control, which used to be behind the steering wheel, that's now moved to the steering boss. You've got other touches like wireless charging for your phone, but my iPhone 7 Plus, that doesn't work. You need an iPhone 8 or 10. I'm sure S-Class owners won't have a problem upgrading to that. Mercedes has launched the S-Class with 2 engine options, the S350 diesel and the petrol S450. It's the diesel which I'm now driving. Oh, this car is so sublime. In fact, the straight 6 diesel is even more refined than the outgoing V6 diesel. It is just so smooth. I mean, it's so refined you can't hear it. The ride, it is so pillowy, soft. This car is just floating like a butterfly. But does it sting like a bee? Well, performance is much better now. This car has more power, and it's just amazing at the way it just takes you some serious speeds without you even feeling it. It's over a second quicker going from 0 to 100, and the buttery smooth 9-speed automatic gearbox blurs gear shifts to give you one seamless shove. It feels astonishingly effortless and unstressed, which is exactly how most owners will want it. And what's really impressive is not just the performance, not just the refinement, but the fact that this is a BS6 diesel running on poorer grade BS4 diesel fuel. How does it manage that? Well, there's a lot of new hardware like a diesel particulate filter and a selective catalyst reduction, which essentially neutralizes the hazardous particulates and nitrogen oxides. These are the 2 nastiest pollutants coming out of the exhaust. But to do that, you have to inject AdBlue, which is the market name for a urea solution, into the exhaust. Now what AdBlue does is trigger a chemical reaction that turns harmful pollutants into harmless nitrogen and water. There's now a 25-litre AdBlue tank which sits near the diesel filler. You'll always have to keep it topped up because this solution is what cleans the exhaust chemically. So the facelifted S-Class also gets ADAS or Advanced Driver Assisted Systems. First time we've seen them in a Mercedes. Now you get Distronic, which is an adaptive cruise control and active steering. So the way it works is you can set your speed limit and depending on the car in front of you, it'll adjust. It'll keep a safe distance from the car in front of you, and even the steering will adjust, or let's say turn along, judging what the car in front is doing. Not quite autonomous level 2 like we've seen in some of the Volvos, but the first level of autonomy. Mercedes still has a long way to go, or let's say India has a long way to go before we reached the levels they've achieved in Europe, but this is a start. There are some other very useful driving aids too, like Active Brake Assist, which does emergency braking for you, and Active Blind Spot Assist, which warns you of a vehicle that's lurking in a blind spot behind you. Now you might think you don't need these electronic nannies, but if you're the type who checks Facebook while driving, these aids could be a lifesaver. Well, the place to be in an S-Class is right here in the back seat. This is like being in your living room on 4 wheels. There's enough to entertain you in the cabin as well. You've got these 2 new high-definition screens which allow you to view your favorite videos. The twin screens up front though throw up a myriad of functions in different styles and colors. And speaking of colors, there's a festival of lights inside the cabin with 64 different colors to choose from. Yep, you can celebrate Diwali every day on your way home. So how good is the facelifted S-Class? Well, external changes, they are quite minor, few tweaks here and there to sharpen the look, but the talking point really is what's under the skin. And the highlight is this straight-six diesel engine. It's refined, more powerful, and performance is a step up. And it's super clean too. The S-Class is much nicer to drive, much safer to drive with all the advanced driving systems. But it's not quite a driver's car yet, not that engaging. It's all soft and wallowy, the steering isn't sharp or incisive, but hey, who's complaining? I'm sitting right here in the back seat, which is still the best place on 4 wheels. It's super refined, absolutely comfortable, and that magical ride makes this the ultimate luxury benchmark.
इसी कभी न रुकने वाले जुनून को रफ्तार देता है सर्वो वर्ल्ड क्लास लुब्रिकेंट्स।